Hello, I'm currently in Zurich, and we're in the MME office, which is like our legal advisors here. So, first thing, I want to tell you a little bit about Bancor, and be happy to take any questions about it. And maybe I will tell you a little bit about my background as well. I've been a developer since I was 7 years old, believe it or not. I'm like 43 today, so for quite some time. And I was in the Israeli intelligence, in the military, and was kind of doing a lot of computer jobs there. This is where I got my non-formal education. And in the last 20 years, I've been just working on startups and companies, and mostly in the end user kind of space. My latest company was Metacafe. It was a video sharing site. Maybe some of you remember it, those who used videos before YouTube. And I've been hooked to crypto since 2011 when I saw Bitcoin for the first time. I thought that this is like the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And since then, I've been doing stuff in the field, building product, launching pilots, mostly in the area of user-generated currency. And we had a big pilot in 2013. The first pilot we did for user-generated currency, we actually used our own platform. There was no easy platform to do that back then. It was not blockchain even, it was like a cloud platform, but it was a user-generated currency for a specific community of monks. And it was an overnight hit, meaning that almost the entire active community, like 10,000 young moms from a Facebook group, have joined our system, have signed in, and essentially started to use a currency we created for them. We call it hearts, like little heart, and they started to trade between each other, like toys and clothes that are too small for the baby, or jewelry, or even some accessories for themselves, all kind of stuff. And this pilot was very, very successful in the beginning. We got to like 1,000 transactions per day, which is pretty insane for a 10,000 moms community using a custom currency. But we saw that over time there is a problem that when we started to kind of think and try to put our hands on the problem and figure out what it was, we ended up getting to the conclusion that the problem was lack of liquidity. So because that was a kind of small-scale currency, you couldn't trade it, you couldn't buy it or sell it for fiat currency, and it was kind of disconnected from the external world. And this is when we started to think about what could be a solution for that. And years came by. After I would say about a year and a half, Ethereum started to kind of gain some good ground and become more and more stable. I'm talking about 2016. And this is when we started to figure out that maybe we have a solution for user-generated currencies that could be liquid. And that was kind of the birth of the Bancor protocol. So when we're talking about Bancor protocol, what is it? It's a decentralized liquidity network. So it's not an exchange. It's a decentralized liquidity network, meaning that no exchange takes place. I mean, there's no two parties that exchange currencies with each other like you can see on every exchange today. The way that Bancor works is that a single enough. So it's a liquidity network where anyone, any person with access to the blockchain can convert any token to any other token on market prices using just a standard transaction. And no second party, no counterparty is required in order to complete the transaction. So you can say that Bancor protocol essentially disconnect volume from liquidity. So you don't need high volume in order to have high liquidity. And that's kind of unique. And I'm going to try to explain how it works. I'll be happy to take questions afterward, just to make sure that it was clear. So the way that Bancor protocol works is that it is essentially based on this component we call a smart token. And what is a smart token? It's an ERC20 token, like any other token. It's compatible. However, it has additional functionality. And the additional functionality is that a smart token can have one or more connectors to other token. So it's connected to other token. Now, how is it connected? Each connector is pointing to another token and actually holding balance of that token. And not only holding balance, but having another parameter we call weight. Weight is a very important parameter because it defines the level of liquidity that the smart token will have to the connected token. So let's take an example. BNT is the first smart token ever created. BNT is a Bancor network protocol, and it has a single connector to Ether. And the weight of this connector is 10%. And basically, that means that it has very high liquidity to Ether. And anyone that wants can take Ether, send it to the smart contract of BNT, and essentially get BNT. You can do it right now. And vice versa. If someone has BNT, holding BNT, and want to liquidate those BNT to Ether, you can actually send those BNT to the smart contract. They will be removed from circulation. And that person will get Ether from the connector's balance, because the connector always holds balance in Ether. And the weight, which is 10% in BNT case, is actually reflecting the ratio between the balance that BNT holds and the market cap according to which BNT are bought and sold by the smart contract. And this is very, very critical, because the token always has a price for itself denominated in the connected token. So since BNT is connected to Ether, it has a price in Ether that it would buy itself or sell itself for that price at every given moment. But whenever someone is buying BNT, for example, the price will go up. Whenever someone is selling BNT, the price will go down. So over time, the price will always strive to get to this equilibrium point where you have the same volume of buyers and sellers, the same volume of buying and selling. And now if all of a sudden more people are buying, then the price will start climbing until it gets to the price point where, again, there's the same volume of buying and selling. And this is happening asynchronously, meaning that, someone can buy today, someone can sell tomorrow, someone else can buy the other, 2 days from now. And that would not be a problem. Now, given how the weight works, so with BNT with 10% weight, whenever you buy and sell, you move the price. But if it was 20%, the price would move less with every purchase or liquidation. And if it would be 5%, the price will move more with every purchase and every liquidation, every buy, every sell. So basically, the token issuer has a way to control the liquidity level that the token has. So if you think about it, for any token issuer, to participate in the Bancor decentralized liquidity network means that first, there's always going to be guaranteed on-chain liquidity at all time, no matter what. Anyone can be able to buy, to sell the token on-chain, even using a widget from the issuer's website. The second advantage is that the issuer takes control over its own liquidity, so he can set the liquidity. Now, you don't want to set it to be too high because the price of the token might not respond to an increased demand as much as you might want it to. So it's a balance. You know, it usually was not something that is in any way, shape, or form controlled by the token issuer, but thanks to Bancor protocol, the issuer does have an effect on the liquidity, and he can set, you know, higher weight or lower weight, and by that control the liquidity level of its own token. And the third advantage is that since the liquidity is provided by the smart contract, essentially, you can say that it is provided by a built-in non-profit automated market maker from the token itself. So that's very different from the way that liquidity is provided today, which is by for-profit market makers that are operating within for-profit exchanges. So you have like a non-profit model for providing liquidity, meaning that it saves a lot of costs to the holders and the holders to be. Just make it cheaper to buy and easier to liquidate. You get more when you buy, you get more when you liquidate, when the liquidity is provided by a non-profit contract, essentially. Now, Bancor doesn't support just smart token because it can actually connect to one or more tokens. So in that case, smart token can actually function as what we call a token relay, essentially connecting two different tokens to each other and, you know, enabling liquidity between those tokens. So, for example, if someone already has an ERC20 token, you know, which is existing and running on the blockchain, or maybe he has a tokenized asset, so the supply has to be completely fixed. So the way to connect these kind of tokens, standard ERC legacy, you know, tokens to the Bancor liquidity network is through what we call a token relay, which is essentially a smart token that will connect to the new token on the one hand and to BNT being the hub of the Bancor liquidity network. So all the tokens in the Bancor liquidity network are connected to the BNT, creating a network which has first a network effect, so it kind of grows together and gains value together. But more than that, it assures that you can move between any token to any other token. You can convert directly because both has BNT in their, both are connected to BNT, so essentially they are connected to each other. You can even, if you look at our plans, we are planning to make BNT a cross-blockchain token. So it will be actually possible to move BNT from Ethereum to, let's say, you know, not too far in the future, RSK. So you can move your BNT to RSK using like a 1-to-1 ratio, and then convert the BNT to any other token on the RSK network. So basically, it's a token that sits in the middle of the liquidity network. Now, through token relays, it can be connected to any other token in existence, meaning that we can create an ever-growing, always liquid network. Now, when we're talking about liquidity, this is actually very, very critical, because everyone's talking about the Internet of Value, but the reality is that we don't have an Internet of Value. What we do, we have a lot of isolated network, and what connects in each network is like currency or a token. They're all isolated. They're not intrinsically connected to each other. The way that you can actually move value between those networks of value, between tokens, is through exchanges and through labor of market makers and people that are active on providing the liquidity and making their living out of that, both in the crypto world and in the traditional markets. So this is how liquidity is provided. It's actually manual. So we don't have an internet of value. What we actually have is, you can imagine isolated computer networks with people running between them with floppy disks. I mean, yeah, you can move data this way, but those networks are not connected. However, with the Bancor decentralized liquidity network model, they are definitely connected. They're connected directly, smart tokens connecting to each other or connecting different tokens that were not connected before, enabling liquidity between all these tokens at all times with no need to be matched with another party, meaning that there is no liquidity risk. Liquidity risk is that no one is, and you cannot find someone to exchange with. This is not the case with Bancor. Now, Bancor is also fully compatible with exchanges today in terms of it can work in conjunction with them. So you can imagine, you can actually look at BNT itself, which is traded on many other exchanges, even though it's a smart token. It is traded on many other exchanges. And you can always see that the prices are the same. And the reason is simply arbitrages. Because if the price that you can get on the Bancor liquidity network is different than the price that you'll get on any other exchange, so it will be just like two exchanges having different prices, where arbitrages are actually getting into actions and kind of, if price here is high, price here is low, they will buy from here. I'm sorry, they will buy from where the price is low, and the price will start climbing as they buy, and they sell it where it's high, the price will start going down until the prices are equal. This is what arbitrages do. This is how they make money. So the same dynamic works with Bancor, because when you purchase a token in the Bancor liquidity network, as mentioned, the price goes up for that token. When you liquidate it, the price will go down. So depending on how much you buy and how much you sell. And that is actually creating a dynamic where having a smart token, using the Bancor liquidity network can be done together with being traded in exchanges. It actually can affect the exchanges by providing extra guaranteed on-chain liquidity where exchanges do not have that same guarantee. So basically, you can see that liquidity is being moved between the smart token and the exchanges where it lacks, if it lacks on the exchanges themselves. So basically, what we have here is a backward compatible model, works with existing token, works with existing exchanges, and providing value to token issuers that is probably one of their main concerns today in the market. Because any issuer, any new token, any new ICO, we all know they are worried about not being liquid, not being listed on exchanges, or even if they are listed in exchanges, maybe having low liquidity. Low liquidity meaning that every buy or sell of the token would move the price drastically, and that's not good for anyone. And with Bancor protocol, token issuers, no matter how big or how small, they can actually guarantee to their holders liquidity at all times. They cannot guarantee a price because the price itself would be determined by the activity. So if everyone is selling, yes, the price will crash. If everyone is buying, the price will spike, but you'll always have liquidity. That's the main thing. That's the main benefit of the Bancor protocol. Guaranteed perpetual on-chain issuer-controlled liquidity. I think that is like the basic background about Bancor. You can actually, you can go look at the white paper. You can actually use the network. I mean, we're not talking about something theoretical. Unlike many ICOs, we have been live for quite some time. We released our token back in June, the first smart token. So our smart contract technology was first released to production in June, and the token has been traded since then, which is the month we did our ICO. And just a month ago, we started to add more tokens to the Liquidity network. So maybe I can kind of share my screen and show you guys how this looks like. So this is app.bancor.network. You can see that we have several tokens here. This is the Bancor, this is stocks, Gnosis. So stock is, well, Gnosis is actually a token relay because Gnosis was an existing ERC20 token, while stocks was a new token that was issued as a smart token. So let's take a look at stocks. So you can see the price, you can see that stocks, they actually hold 15 million BNT inside the smart token. And they, they have a specific weight, and you can see the current supply. Oh, I'm sorry, this is like the market cap. This is how much they hold, 307,000 BNT. So their market cap is measured in BNT. And if I want to buy the token, right now, we're using MetaMask. So I have MetaMask installed here, and I want to buy 10 STX. And I can see it will cost me 2.6 BNT. I can buy it for Ether as well. So let's say I want to buy 10 STX for Ether, 100 STX, 0.15 Ether. I can actually choose if I want a price limit, so please don't buy if it's more than 0.5%. And just because this transaction is going to take place on the blockchain, so just to make sure the price hasn't changed to prevent front running, we allow this limit to be set. And then when I want to buy, I'm just going to click on buy, and it will open MetaMask. Now, not going to buy right now, but it shows you how it works. So let's not buy. It's failed. So as you can see, it's a very simple shapeshift experience. If you look at how the dynamic works, as I sell more, you see that the price that I'm getting is different. And this is how the Bancor formula works. So the price you're getting is basically dependent on how much you are buying and how much you are selling. This actually makes sure that there's always balance remaining in the smart token. And it makes sure that always liquidity, no matter what happens, always going to be liquidity. So I think that was kind of a good general description, and let's start with questions. Sure. This is actually a good question. The way that Bancor works, it uses a formula that calculate the price based on the transaction size. So let's say that you want to buy 100 BNT. The price that will be calculated for you is essentially going to be calculated as if you bought those BNT cent after cent, in infinitely small pieces. And the price is recalculated after every small buy. So the total price that you'll get depends on the amount. So this is creating a situation that it's called path independence, meaning that if you buy 100 BNT through Bancor protocol, or you buy 10 times 10 BNT, or you buy 100 times 1 BNT, you will get the exact same price. So it doesn't matter what is the size of the transaction. Actually, if you split your transaction, you're just going to pay more transaction fees to the miners of Ethereum. but it doesn't gonna change the price that you're gonna get from BNT. And we actually have a Excel spreadsheet linked from our white paper that everyone can download. It's not Excel, it's a Google spreadsheet. You can take it and you can play with it, and you can see the formula there. It's, you can see it on the white paper as well, but the formula is also in the spreadsheet, and you can see how it works. It's a simple formula. It's essentially kind of derivative of how the price is calculated, and there's no meaning to splitting the transactions into smaller ones. Question from Alina. So Alina, how can other token be listed in Bancor? Oh, that's very simple. Any token that want to be listed in Bancor, essentially to participate in the Bancor liquidity network, can do that in one of two ways. The first way is, if that's a new token, it can be issued as a smart token. If the token is, and the code for smart token is on our homepage. There's a link to our GitHub. Anyone can take the code and just use it as is and issue the token as a smart token. If the token is a smart token, then the token can hold BNT, and it's essentially taking care of its own liquidity from that point onward, and then we can list it. So what you need is to issue a token using the smart token code. You put some BNT inside the token, and that's it. So the Bancor liquidity network, you're going to be liquid forever on chain. And again, also from your website, because you can actually take our widget and put it on your website and let your user buy and sell your token for Ether at all time. Now, the other way to connect to the Bancor network, if you want your token to be listed there, is to implement a token relay. And a token relay is essentially, again, you take the smart token code and you deploy it, and you configure it to connect to your token and to the BNT, and then you deposit your token and BNT on the same value in the token relay. Obviously, anyone that want to do that should contact us. We will, take anyone step by step in the process and make sure that no mistakes are done. So we are really happy with every new token that is want to get on board and join the Bancor liquidity network, and we're here to help. You can actually, if you use Telegram, you can contact Sheer. Sheer is working with us, and she's in our team. She's kind of the one helping all the smart, all the new tokens to kind of onboard. Let's see, Telegram ID, and you're welcome to contact her. And again, we'll provide all the support that is needed. But those are the two ways. Again, one way is for issuing for tokens that yet to be issued, that can be issued as smart tokens. The other way is to use a token relay, which works with any existing ERC20 token. So any existing token can be added to the network. Let's see. Perpetual liquidity are small tokens prone to arbitrage and the reserve being drained like BNT price floor. So, the price floor is actually, I'm almost sorry that I did it, because a lot of people were like very confused by it. The price floor has nothing to do with Bancor protocol. It has nothing to do with it. It's something that any ICO can do. The reason we did the price floor is that we didn't want to limit people that wanted to participate in the initial ICO. So we said, look, we're not going to take too much money, so everything above what we need is going to go to the price floor to kind of protect investors, and this is what we did. It has nothing to do with Bancor protocol. I think because we were like probably the first one to do that, so a lot of people kind of connected it to the Bancor, and it confused a lot of people. So I'm sorry for that, but it really has very little to do. The reserve can never ever be drained mathematically. I mean, the reason is that the price is calculated according to reserve balance. So if there's like 1,000 ether in BNT and the weight is 10%, then BNT would be bought and sold according to a market cap of 10,000 ether. Because if 10% is 1,000 ether, then the market cap according to which it will be bought and sold is 10,000 ether. And then, you know, when people buy it and sell it, they change the balance of the ether that held by BNT, and thus the market cap is changing. So there's just no mathematical way for the reserve being drained. This is like a myth being pushed by people that really don't get very, very basic math about our protocol. It's like high school grade math. It cannot be drained. So, you know, there are questions about why, or, you know, I can answer more specifically. It's all in the white paper. But I guess that people read it online, but I would not trust those sources. Let's look at the next question. So basically, the issuers are the sellers, and the BNT is fully. Yes. Basically, I mean, I like to talk about it this way. If exchanges are like cars, and let's say the Uber driver is the for-profit market maker, and the passenger is the market taker. The market taker who is like not putting orders, just people like me that needs to convert dollars to euros, or, you know, ether to gnosis. Or I'm not playing in the market. I need like a shapeshift level of experience. Just convert this to that. So this is the market taker. So if we use this analogy, the exchange is the car, the market maker is like the service provider that's doing it for profits, like the driver, and the market taker is like the passenger. So Bancor is a self-driving car technology. It just does automatically what used to require labor. And we couldn't have done that without smart contract technology and blockchain. I mean, that's the only thing that enables that. Just like self-driving car would not happen with advanced image recognition. Now that we have that, we can actually automate that job. So basically, yes, the way that it works is that the smart token is a fully autonomous, non-profit, automated market maker that adds stability and balance to the market and guarantees liquidity at all times. So that's for Charles Planck question. Alex 2X, are you a cousin of Segwit? Can you talk a bit about your initiative to list new ICOs with Bancor? Oh yeah, I mean, you can actually, if you look at our Reddit, you know, let's share screen again. And if we look at Reddit, so, you know, list of all, so, you know, pinned to our Reddit page, you can actually see all the projects that are already announced publicly that they will use Bancor Liquidity Network. So, you know, again, we are very happy to welcome new projects, and we're very happy with any new token in our network, and we're very actively working on expanding it. We believe that as the network grows, it becomes stronger. So how do you see Bancor in 5 years? So first of all, I see Bancor cross blockchain. This is critical. I mean, we build BNT, we design BNT, so you can move BNT between blockchains without needing to exchange. So it's not like converting Ether to Bitcoin, because that has costs, that has slippage, spread, all those things. This is, you have one BNT on Ether, you move that BNT to RSK Bitcoin, and it's the same amount of BNT. So it's like a cross-blockchain token, and then on each blockchain, you can actually convert BNT to any other token on that blockchain. So that's one thing. Another thing is that we see ourselves integrating with a lot of fiat solution, but third parties. So for example, integrating with the service that will allow you to put your credit card and get any token that you want, or maybe convert a token to fiat, to like a wire transfer or credit card that you can use. So integrating with those services and making it like a very simple user experience is also important for us. And I think maybe the most important thing is that we, as we come from a background of end user application, as I told you, my last company, Metacafe, I had 50 million users coming using our service every month. So I would say that our goal is to create a very, very simple user experience for issuing and using tokens. And we like to call it the long tail of user-generated tokens. Token for a neighborhood, for a small business, even for a family, you can imagine, because you don't have a problem of liquidity. You used to have like a minimum scale, a minimum for a token that is, I would call it a barrier to liquidity that you used to have. But we don't have that with the Bancor protocol. It doesn't matter how big or small the token, it will always be liquid. So we want to make this a very simple user experience to do it. And when you make it easier for anyone to issue a token which is liquid, then I think we'll see the same phenomena as what happens when we allow anyone to create a blog. What happens? It completely change our culture. What happens when you allow anyone to broadcast radio, podcast, as we call that? That's also changed a lot. When you allow anyone to publish a video, that's also something that really changed our culture from its core. So those kind of things allow creativity from the long tail of users and use cases, and we really look forward to see how people will use that, because if you think about it, no one could have predicted how blogs will evolve. No one could have predicted how podcasts would evolve. No one could have predicted how video would evolve. It's something that happens organically, and it's our job to kind of watch and see and monitor. Why do you think, let's see, Charles Bank, prerequisite to the liquidity success would be an acceptance of price, which can be challenging for, let's say, a declining coin price and relative to BTC. I mean, the thing with the price, again, it's very, very important question. And it's important to understand that if the price of any token in the BNC network is different than the price in which it is traded on any exchange in the world, that is a money-making opportunity for arbitrages. This is a financial incentives for arbitrages to fix that, to close that gap. So if a token can be purchased or bought or sold in two different places, it doesn't matter if it might be more expensive here or more expensive there. Doesn't matter. Arbitrage will always be incentivized to balance the price. So there's not maybe I don't understand the question completely, but from what I understand, when you're talking about acceptance of the price, I'm saying that so interchange arbitrage would be the name of the game. Yes, I mean basically the arbitrages are the liquidity movers. If the Bancor liquidity network is actually relying on arbitrages, while traditional liquidity network are relying on market makers, which is much more riskier business and speculative business, and maybe you can say money-making business for those who do it well. But arbitrage is a very technical. It's like movers. It's like people who move these are people that move liquidity from one place to the other because liquidity is required here, but it's not required there. So they're doing the movement and balancing the price. It's actually a race to the bottom because the arbitrages that will be the first to make the transaction, to buy the token cheap, and so he can sell it elsewhere more expensive, he will get the deal. So there is a constant competition between arbitrages that the result of that competition is lower cost, lower differentiation of price for the users that need the liquidity. So Alex, thank you very much. Really appreciate your kind words, and happy to be here. And I know that we're on a delay, so we'll cut it here. And it was great to get your question and to answer them. And I hope to see you soon, everyone, on the Bancor Liquidity Network. Bye-bye.